What is good, ladies and gentlemen? What is good? I'm your host, Cheats. This is the Black Baseball Mixtape Podcast. Hey, look, it is the intersection between black culture and baseball and all kinds of things that I know you are waiting to hear. As always, we're coming at you live on Instagram, also on YouTube. If there's anybody on Facebook, you can follow along, you can comment, you can ask us questions. Joining us, our Monday night crew. I'm very excited to get everybody back in the same place. It's been a little while. Flobo Boyce is in the building. How are you feeling, Flobo, my guy?
Man, I'm feeling pretty good. The first time we all got together since the trade deadline, so it always feels like it's a new chapter in the MLB season. But for one, I'm here. I'm also glad my man Malik is back. We'll get to him in a minute, man. He's back. He wasn't here last week. I was a little
He
lost.
wasn't here last
He
week.
was incognito. I didn't know where he was, but he's here back.
He was in parts unknown, and he wasn't here on. Look, I was trying. Lewis slid in on Thursday. Lewis Brinson, shout out to our guy who was just on MLB Network today. Lewis Brinson slid in on Monday, and then we were doing the trade deadline show with Lewis on Thursday. And I was like, Malik, are you available? And he was like, nope, brother, still incognito. So Malik, welcome back to Civilization, my guy. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. The sun beat me down a little bit in Georgia. It's a little oppressive out there. That sun's a little different than the Houston sun, but I'm glad to be back. The trade deadline was crazy. I was jumping in my seat. It was one for the ages, so I'm glad to get back and talk about that a little bit.
Fantastic. Welcome to have you back. And as always, joining us, 10th inning talk herself, all about April. How are we feeling today?
Hey y'all, I'm doing good. I'm back at work, so your girl I ain't gonna be on social media like I've been able to be this past summer, but I'm still ready to talk some baseball, softball, all that good stuff.
We're praying for our teachers out there, our educators.
We are. It is that time. It is getting that time. We're getting all of my son Cam's school clothes ready, and he's about to start 5th grade, so we're excited about that. Hey, before we go further, we have to thank our partners. That's right, our wonderful sponsors, the Players Alliance, Numbers Game Scorecards, Rebellion Harvest Sunflower Seeds, Minority Prospects. Make sure, especially with Minority Prospects and Number Game Scorecards, which are phenomenal, you can use the Black Baseball Mixtape code. You can order special Black Baseball Mixtape scorecard to make sure you support our partners and our sponsors. There's been a lot going on in the world of baseball this week. There's a lot. Just everything's all happening. Everything's all happening. I'm going to start, and then we'll go around because we always hit the first inning, the leadoff spot, if you will. I'm going to make it easy because Bristol Motor Speedway Classic just took place. It started. It was not supposed to be a 2-day event, but it turned out to be a 2-day event. They were billing it as the first professional baseball game or MLB professional baseball game played in the state of Tennessee. They are billing it as what will be the largest attended baseball game in the history of Major League Baseball at 85,000. It was obviously at the big Bristol Motor Speedway, which is a big NASCAR track. They are known to do, I think Bristol Motor Speedway is known to host about 90,000 plus. They put a college football game there that I remember a couple of years back. It was my home state, University of Virginia, played Tennessee, and that was like 115,000. So it was like the largest college football game, ever played there. It was a big deal. The spectacle, I will start by saying I was not there. Full disclosure, none of us were there. None of us were there.
Not there.
We all watched on TV. We all saw all the stuff and all the work that Major League Baseball did, from the uniforms to converting the stadium to, Tim McGraw and Pitbull to pit crews changing tires as they announced, players coming out from center field. It was something to see fan fest crowd. It was something to see. Mother Nature had different plans, and I would say made Friday night really difficult to watch, really difficult to be a part of. I felt bad for Spencer Strider, who was actually scratched from the game because the weather was so bad before it started. And then Chase Burns pitched the 1 inning, and then he was out. When you put so much effort, I'll start with you, Flobo. When you put so much effort into kind of making this what it was spectacle-wise, especially on Friday night, then Mother Nature doesn't work. It gets rained out. You go to Sunday at 1:00. Better weather, but not like great weather. Not the same kind of crowd that's there. Like, how do you shape up this? You shape it up as a success for Major League Baseball that just kind of didn't work out? Do you chalk it up to better luck next time, because there is really no next time? Like, how do you surmise all that took place over these kind of 2 days of Bristol?
Well, to answer that question, you have to go into some of the negatives, right? You're right. I wasn't there either, but there was we ran at concessions. It was a weather thing. Mind you, Bristol has some hospitality options, but isn't necessarily a convention town. So some people had to like flip their tickets. So that part was a mess. And so you would not be wrong. You'd be forgiven if you was like, you know what? This doesn't work for me. But these kind of special stunt events are in a category of their own. We went to Rickwood this year, and granted, it wasn't an MLB game in the traditional sense this year, had its own issues. We still want to go back next year. I mean, Japan series, London series, these things have flaws, but MLB knows what they're doing. It was a very concerted effort to have these two teams at this arena, this venue, at this time of year. You know they're going to say it was a dub, and you're going to see more of it when it's all said and done.
April, what do you say?
So last week, I expressed some concerns from the fan perspective, and it seems like my concerns were actually things that came true. Before the podcast began, I was reading how the fan experience for some people was definitely not good, and some of them are actually going to be trying to get money back through their credit cards. Like, they're going to be disputing it. And
how is that even possible?
I have no idea. I'm just telling you.
How would that work?
I have no idea. But
Okay.
what I did read was that when the rain delay happened, the concession stands were long. And that was a question that I had with the concession stands, the bathrooms, etc. One thing we have to remember in regards to the concessions, places like Dyken Park, NRG, they have self-service stations. That place probably doesn't have something like that, especially with over 80,000 people. So
Right.
between that and sitting in, the rain, hoping for a great experience, you just can't compete with bad weather, which is unfortunate. And I think that's totally the side part of it. So yeah, the weather was an experience. And then of course, for fans wanting to find things to do in the midst of that, they weren't able to get what they needed. So that's what I read. Being that because I was supposed to be there. Remember that this was my birthday weekend, and I was supposed to be there, and I ended up not going because I had some other things that I had planned. So I'm kind of glad that my other plans came through, because I would have been very disappointed to be out there in the rain.
Yeah. I mean, the rain made it tough, Malik. The rain made it tough, no doubt. It seems like Major League Baseball did put a lot of energy and effort into this production, as they always did. Flobo, you mentioned Rickwood this year. We went to the East West Classic this year, but if you remember, last year was the tribute to the Negro Leagues game between the Cardinals and the Giants, and that's where Major League Baseball really put their effort into. And it turned out to be a phenomenal. I was not there again. Full disclosure. I want to be clear, because people are
leave the house sheet.
like, were you there? I was not there, but I have more firsthand accounts about how Rickwood went with the East West Classic last year. And of course, they did not have bad weather. They had a game that got, pulled off, and a lot of the pageantry still remained the same. But Malik, when you kind of look at the totality of what Major League Baseball did, is there a way any way that they can kind of mark this off as obviously a success overall, but just like a bummer of a weather day? How do you categorize this?
Yeah, and I just have to agree with what April was saying earlier. Like, you really can't control what the weather's going to do on an event day like this. Imagine like going to just to a regular like race car event, and then imagine it just like raining that out like that. So I don't know if Major League Baseball would want this to be their hallmark event for being like the most attended event in history, but it's gonna have to be, because it's just like they put so much effort and money into it and so much marketing into it. So it feels like it would be kind of a loss if they didn't.
Yeah, and again, I think when you have that many people, this is what I'm gonna say, because they had a ton of people Friday night. They had a ton of people Friday night, and I'm a little surprised overall when I hear like there's reports about the fan experience being difficult all the way across the board. You like April said, long lines, and there's folks that were saying that concessions were short here and there. Obviously, you knew going in, and I did know going in, that some of the sight lines were going to be bad, right? Because you can't put that many people in a NASCAR track and build a baseball field and expect not to have some obstructed views or really far away seats, right? But one of the things that I thought was really interesting is that like NASCAR does this. It does it every year. I think they do it multiple times a year at Bristol. So the idea of them being overrun with fandom. Then again, obviously Major League Baseball has, kind of full control over what happens. But you're at Bristol Motor Speedway. I'm assuming they're going to use some of the same logistical type of understanding, because we've been building this for a while. So I was a little surprised to hear that some of the things, or to read again, some of the things weren't kind of clicking on all cylinders. But again, you throw the weather in. One of the things I also found fascinating. Now, I live in a NASCAR town. I live in Richmond, Virginia. Cam and I will go to NASCAR. This will be our third year in a row that we've been invited to go to NASCAR, and we go. Hey, look, another example of DEI going well, right? They want to bring more people in to see what new NASCAR has deemed like a new turnover of a leaf, a new like experience. Like they want to attract more diversity at the track, which is interesting because, believe it or not, there's a lot of diversity at a NASCAR track. If you've ever been to a NASCAR race, I was floored 3 years ago when I went the first time, and I'm not just talking about white, black. Like there's a large Latino population that goes to NASCAR. I was like, there are things that really surprised me, in a good way. One of the things that surprised me, and I laughed about this, is if you go to a NASCAR event, you can bring coolers. Like full
right, that's what I was going to say. Yep,
filled with beer,
game changer,
all kinds of stuff, and you can bring it into the stadium. It's like NASCAR doesn't even care. Like just like camp out all week, bring all your stuff in. And so I was like, maybe I don't know if Major League Baseball does this. I don't think they would even at Bristol. So it's like maybe the crunch on like lines and concessions would be less at a NASCAR event because they can bring their own concessions in. They've got campers and trailers and all kinds of tailgating. I don't know. April, you were going to say something.
At Daikin, you can bring in like snacks as long as it's in a Ziploc bag. So you can bring things at that level.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, and you can also bring like a little tiny water bottle. So there are some things that Daikin allows you to bring in as far as snacks, but an ice chest, nah, you ain't gonna be.
No, NASCAR lets you bring in coolers.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you can't do that.
There is a bit of a cultural thing when it comes to seeing those events, right? Because I know I went to not Richmond, but I've been to Daytona. Even for Rolex, you can bring like the coolers. You can sometimes the infield opens up. You can bring your whole truck or RV and check out. You can bring your own like umbrellas and stuff, and you get used to an MLB game where every park has its own rules, where you can't even bring a backpack and most of those things. I think all those came together. So it rained. You're in Bristol. The game's not happening. You're like, well, I'm gonna get something to eat. And everyone had the same idea, and I think that's kind of education,
right? And I will say this: I was watching live. The one thing I will say, because again, I do think it was so cool. It was so cool to watch on TV. It really was very, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I will say is like, and I knew I was like, man, I know they're really trying to get this in. I mean, I think it helps long term for their schedule. But at some point during the night, when it was like 2.5 hours plus rain delay, Fox is scrambling to kind of, David Big Poppy's walking around the crowd. They have like they've lost all containment, right? And I'm looking at the field and I'm like, just call it, man. Just call it for tomorrow. I know you don't want to take the L, but I was like, it looked miserable out there. And I was like, it was like there was a part of the inning that they played did look horrible in regards to the rain coming down. I felt bad for the players playing. And then there was a part, remember this, there was a part of that inning where they like rolled out the grounds crew and was like trying to pour new sand on the old sand while they were playing. I was just like, guys, you got to take them off the field now. Like someone's gonna get hurt.
And that's what I was scared of. I was scared that someone would get injured. But I want to look at a different perspective because for me, this game showed me exactly what possibly could be if an MLB team existed in Tennessee. We know that expansionism is something that they've discussed for a while, especially in Tennessee.
National Stars Group has been pushing very hard usually, and I think
they're pushing very hard. And I just felt like that.
They're the front runners, right? They're talking about expansion of 2 teams.
Yes.
And that is Nashville is definitely in there. Hey, really quick, a couple of things I wanted to say, and I'll let you finish your thought, but I got really excited. Orlando Arnold had jumped on a super agent, one of the friends of the show, and he had a birthday last week. So happy birthday to Orlando Arnold. Make sure he does right by his guys. And then you'll be excited, April, as I always am. Anthony Ianson had joined briefly as well. So the LSU Tiger himself on Instagram. He's now a Red Sox, and I believe he signed, and I saw that he signed with Clutch Sports as well. That's, I believe, Rich Paul and those guys over there. So congratulations to him. There's a couple other folks. Everybody in the chat, man. Yeah, shout out. Thank you guys for rocking.
It's my guy right there.
Did you finish? I apologize, April. I cut you off for that. Did you finish your thought?
No, I was just saying that I know we're focusing on the actual game part, but for me, I was trying to find a positive in all of it. And the positive for me is what could possibly become once this actually occurs. And I think that that's something that as fans, we should be excited to be able to see that there is an excitement that exists there and people will travel there to have the MLB experience in that particular place. So yes, I know it didn't pan out the way that people thought that it would, but I think it's great to see the possibilities that can exist. Cause I watch college, so I see Vanderbilt and I see Tennessee. But yeah, I want to throw that positive part out there.
What about you want to throw a cold one on this?
Man, MLB should know what the hell was y'all thinking? You want to be in the South? You want the sponsor to be build submarines for the Navy? You want to have the Atlanta Braves against the Cincinnati Reds? Okay, I get it. You go ahead, make it as southern as you want to, but inside of a racetrack that's not even shaped for the sport you want to play in was a bad idea on paper. And it was yes, it was.
I did not think it was a bad idea.
It was a bad idea. Bro, first of all,
Malik, do you think it was a bad idea?
I think it was an idea.
April, do you think it was a bad idea? This is where
I don't really like big crowds like that, so don't ask me.
I don't think it was a bad idea. I think the weather didn't help him, but I don't think it was a bad idea.
No, you on paper, the sight lines were going to be terrible just because of how massive an oval a track is. Now you're in Bristol compared to what Major League Baseball wants to have. The hospitality packages will have to be made out of scratch. I'm not saying that having in Tennessee, by all means, please have it wherever you want to. But the idea of having a game inside of a racetrack of that size and magnitude was going to
85,000 people. Where else are you going to put 85,000 people?
I do think, I'm not advocating for this, but if you went old school and went inside of a football arena, you can stuff 95,000 people and have better sight lines. I don't recommend it, but you can. But a racetrack, brother? because of
Hey
Speedway
man,
Classic.
hey
Put some
man.
tires outside of your Coliseum. You be fine.
We are gonna switch gears. That will be close to the last word. But I think I disagree, Flobo, on the idea that it's a bad idea. I think it was a good idea. I think it was a spectacle. I thought a lot of it looked awesome. And again, I can't speak for the fan experience outside of what we've read on social. We know what social media is. We were just talking about it. It's the comment card, right? Like you don't leave good if you get good service, 9 times out of 10 you don't leave a review. If you
Right.
get bad service, you're definitely leaving a review.
I have a
And
question.
that's what this a lot of the social media has turned into these days, including again, Black Baseball Mixtape not immune. You guys, they've been in my comments for the last 24 hours, and a lot of it's not like great job, Cheats, keep it going.
Fair enough, man.
It's all kinds of other stuff. So
yeah.
I'm gonna jump to April. That was the leadoff segment. I'll let you guys, don't let this be the last word. Hop into the comments. Let us know what you thought about the Motor Speedway Classic. Let us know if you thought it was a good idea, because that's an interesting question that we never asked. Was it a good idea or was it not? Let's jump to April. April, you are batting second. What is top of mind for you?
I have to, first off, y'all, listen, being that I live in Houston, Correa returning is one of the, for me to say it, that was one of the most exciting things that I saw last week. So to see him literally come home, I know everybody talks about Altuve. I don't think y'all like Correa is really that guy in Houston. And so I'm happy for what that means for the city, and the excitement for him and his family to come back, and ultimately him playing third base. What is that going to look like? And then, of course, Stroman being DFA'd by the Yankees. Like, oh my gosh, I was not, looking for that. So I know everybody is like, now, what do you mean you weren't looking for that? I mean, I root for him.
One at a time. Let's take one at a time.
Okay.
Malik, you are the other Houstonite here.
Yeah,
you follow the Astros closely. We've been talking a lot about the Astros.
I did.
Carlos Carrera coming back to Houston to play third base. What was your initial shock, surprise, like good move? What was your thoughts on Correa making that move at the trade deadline?
First of all, anytime there's a trade like this, I'm looking at who we gave up. Okay, I'm like, who left? Who got traded? Was it anybody that I liked? Was it Matthews? That was kind of the ceiling I thought that the Twins were looking for, but it looks like the Twins are having them a little bit of an estate sale at the moment. They're selling. They just
having an identity crisis.
They opened up the garage. They said, "Just take it. Take grandma's rug. Take all this." The Astros sent a 26-year-old in high A with a 7 ERA, and I hate just throwing him under the bus like this because every outlet I know has thrown him under the bus. But they literally just sent a guy over there and dumped the salary on Houston, and Houston actually gets a discount, which was kind of a fever dream, kind of a shock to me because. First of all, I didn't think Correa would want to come back to Houston. I had this feeling as a Houston fan that a lot of these guys just wanted to wash that all away. Springer, when he left, we weren't surprised, right? When Bregman left, we also weren't surprised. When Correa left, we weren't surprised.
April was surprised when Bregman left.
I was.
He said he didn't care too much.
He had a whole salsa here.
Yes, I'm saying. I guess he didn't care too much about the salsa. I guess he didn't care about that adventure. But it's just, it was a very surreal experience. Dana Brown has been cooking.
Right.
I think it solidifies his position, even though they're saying that a lot of this deal was made through ownership. I really think it kind of solidifies Dana Brown's place as one of the best GMs that Houston has had in its recent history. And it's going to, shut up a lot of fans that were kind of giving him flack for the Kikuchi trade, which was good, and some other moves that he's done throughout his tenure here. So, shout out to Dana Brown and shout out to Crane because he gets what he wants when he wants to get it.
I mean, here's the thing about I've heard reports now that Correa said didn't he have a no trade clause? He said the He said the only team he would go back to is Houston. So the notion that these guys want to get away from Houston that might have been the case at the time that they left. it seems like a lot of those guys, because there was some talk about, is it Cal Tucker that's going to be a free agent at the end of this season?
Right.
Coming back
it
to
is.
Houston as well. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of folks that are like, I don't think people are as afraid of Houston, especially those guys that played on that World Series team, as maybe they should be. Flobo, if you were Cal Tucker or Carlos Correa or would you be afraid to come back to Houston? George Springer?
If I was, absolutely not. Well, I feel like we should probably move on from 2017. I understand everyone talks about that all the
April, should
time.
we move on?
Yeah,
It's
it's a bot.
been
It's a bot at this point.
it's been 8 years. The team that was the team that was quote unquote screwed over in the Los Angeles Dodgers won 2 championships since then. They're fine. Like,
They're
we're
good.
cool.
They're not even
Like,
talking about it
we're not
anymore.
even talking about them anymore. It's been so long. I was, and maybe because I'm not the most informed about this, I was concerned about the rumors before Correa being traded because of that magical ankle, right? That really stopped his trade to both San Francisco and Queens about 2 seasons ago. I thought he was going to be in that Minnesota island forever, to be honest with you. But you got that up there to go home. Why not?
He played amazing though. Like he all right. So post that, I mean, like, I guess last season he wasn't that great, and he's kind of a hot cold type guy. But since he landed in Minnesota, he's been flashes of all world. So
I would say that Correa is kind of, I think he's like, you're right. When he's good, he's not available.
I don't think the ankle. I think is it the Giants? Is it the Giants?
The Giants and the Mets, both.
I think they both look crazy by not taking those trades now, by not signing it.
I see.
You got to pass the physical though. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
like,
they didn't.
It's not like they. Yeah.
So I just want to be clear. So I saw what happened here and remember at the time. At the time, he didn't pass the physical. That was the story.
No. Yeah, he got signed to the Giants, and then they had questions about his physical. Then Cohen swooped in and signed him, and they had questions about the physical, and so he didn't go anywhere. Yeah, so I thought he was going to be there forever.
But then he wound up playing how many games in Minnesota the last 2 years?
I don't think the issue was him being able to perform. It was the doctors being like, we wouldn't take this livestock, no offense. We wouldn't take this character who has this ankle. You know what I mean?
I think last season, Correa had a really good season. He was an all-star, but he was only available for about 80 games. But then this season, he's been available, but he hasn't been playing his best baseball. So it's kind of like he's been a little inconsistent, but he still has the potential to be.
You've seen the flashes this season. And let me also say, God forgives, I don't. So y'all can move past 2017, but in the words of the great Rick Ross, that's gonna be a no for me.
I'm going to Dodger games with friends, and they're like,
I'm gonna give the credit where it's due, but your girl, as far as forgiveness, it ain't happening.
I'm at Dodger games with friends, and people are like, why you booing? I was like, well, 8 years ago. Like, I feel like an old man.
Now y'all can do Altuve and Correa together.
Yes.
And they can hit home runs together.
I want to highlight though, because I think you guys are all making great points, and you're all in many of your own respective ways correct. But I just want to point out, 27 years old. This is 2022, his first year coming to Minnesota from Houston. He played 136 games. 2023, his second year, he played 135 games. 2024, he was an all-star, but he played 86 games. And so far this year, he's at 96 games. It just sounds to me like the ankle thing is not a thing. Like, I don't, just based off the facts of how many games he played.
Right. I think Minnesota didn't have a problem with the physical, so they re-signed him. I guess what I'm saying is after 2 teams pass on the physicals and 1 team accepted, I just assumed he's going to be there indefinitely because of the ankle issue. So it was a nice surprise. It kind of took me off guard this trade deadline, but yeah, if you have a chance to go home, to answer your question, I would.
And I think third base is going to help with the ankle thing. He has a bionic ankle. He has an ankle. It's bionic. It has metal in it. So I think that the third base range situation might help with his lateral movement, and he's willing to take this position because he knows that his career is on the level of, like, he wants to be a slugger now. He wants to, go into the Hall of Fame and get more championships. So I think he's thinking about his health long term, and he's willing to play third base.
I mean, he's 30 years old. He's 30 years old. Like I said, he's got flashes of real greatness. But here's Here's the thing. Did the Astros, and we talked about this a little bit, but the Astros are now 3 games up on the Mariners, who are extremely active at the deadline as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're close.
With you talked about Correa and his bionic ankle. The Astros have a bionic team. Like 60% of that team has been on the IL. Like, it's insane. and so now the reason they get Correa is because Asak Paredes is going to be hurt longer than anybody thought.
Mm-hmm.
So he was going to be there to play third base. He's not playing third base now. Jeremy Pena is going to, I guess he's back now, or he was coming back at the end of last week.
Yeah, hitting the ribs.
Yeah. So it's like they needed some help on a division that made a lot of moves between the Rangers and the Mariners. We talked about this on Thursday's show with Lewis Brinson. Who would you rather be? Would you rather be the Astros, the Mariners, or the Rangers as it stands right now? The Astros have a 3-game lead in the West.
Nobody wants to be the Rangers.
You don't think? Rangers made a lot of moves.
I mean, made a lot of moves, but that's picking the dark horse. I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm just saying to me, it's a 2-team choice between Seattle and Houston.
That's hard to kind of say. They have Corey Seager. And Corey Seager, when he decides to be the Corey Seager of old that we know, he can turn the whole lineup around. But I don't think we could really give it to the Rangers because they've been so inconsistent at the plate, even though they've been picking it up of late. But I would have to say, like, as far as like as a new fan, if I was never a baseball fan, I would love to be a Mariners fan. Right now
they're looking. Really
if I was never, in Houston, I just never watched baseball. I think it'll be fun to be a Mariners fan, following this team and seeing what they can do in the West. So I would pick the Mariners if I was a new fan.
April, who would you rather be? Astros, Mariners, or Rangers?
I can't believe I'm gonna say this. I would rather be an Astros fan. I'm
down to you drown.
Yeah, why would you hesitate on this? I'd rather be an Astros fan too. I agree with you.
Well, the hater in me. But no, I would love to be an Astro fan. When you go to the games, like, it is an experience being there. And it's always packed out. The fans are great, whether you are in the stadium or outside of the stadium. They actually win. The food is pretty good too. So you have a lot of things to look forward to.
But I think I phrased this wrong. Not a fan. Who would you rather be as a baseball team that's going to win the division? The Astros, the Mariners, or the Rangers? I'm not
right
talking about
Astros. I think that the Astros are set up to be. I'm gonna stick with the Astros right now because I feel like they're consistent and proven to win at the right time. And I know everybody is gonna say, like, what? No, Mariners, look, they look good. They've made some great moves at the deadline, but I still don't trust them. I gotta see them win before I start trusting them first.
54%, right? Like Jerry DePoto said.
I said this about the Astros, and they're winning, and look at how I've turned out. Now I'm supporting them. So I need the Mariners to win the big game before I decide to say that I fully support what they're doing.
So just so we're clear, April,
Astros.
You'd rather be the Astros. I'd rather be the Astros. Malik, what did you say? You'd rather be of these 3 in the division. You'd rather be the Mariners.
I said as a fan, the Mariners, but as a player, I'd be the Astros 100%.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about. Look, I love the fan experience. We're all fans. I'm trying to figure out who do you think is going to win the division.
Oh, it's the Astros. Yeah.
Flobo, where are you on this?
Yeah, I'm kind of boring in comparison to Astros, but yeah, you got to go with the consistent brand. It's a better running organization too. But man, the Seattle's so much fun though.
The consistent
nobody again, and so the flip side of this is nobody thinks any of the other teams did enough to take over the Astros in the West. So the Mariners getting Josh Naylor and Suarez, and the Rangers getting Merrill Kelly and the pitching that they got. Nobody is.
I don't necessarily disagree with that or agree with that. I feel like Seattle did what best they could. They were one of the winners of this year's trade deadline. They have totally bolstered their core. But the thing about the Astros, I think about good dynasty of rooted teams that they find ways to win on different levels. So ultimately, I do think Houston comes out in front. But the Mariners reloaded. I give them all the credit in the world for actually waking up for a change.
And the Mariners took 2 out of 3 against the Rangers directly over this last weekend. So that's why they're only 3 games back behind the Astros as we speak. Yeah, I mean, it'll be a fun race. They were by far the most active at the
Yes,
trade deadline as well. So,
I
a
agree.
couple of notes. Speaking of our AL West teams that we're talking about, not great for our African American brethren, but both Bryce Matthews and Kumar Rocker have been
Yes.
sent down to AAA. They are no longer on their major league rosters, but the rosters expand sooner than later now, as we're in the second half of the season. When they expand those rosters, I think there'll be some people coming
Hmm.
back up. We will see. And then we talked about um, Correa coming over from Minnesota. Minnesota is in a free fall fire sale. One of the players that they did get at the trade deadline is Taj Bradley. So
Right.
Taj Bradley is now a Minnesota Twin. Bryce Matthews and Kumar Rocker have been sent down. So for the Black Baseball Tracker, not great, but it is here in 2025. Speaking of not being on a team anymore, April, you alluded to it, so we'll just jump right into our next phase of your next topic. Marcus Stroman
Mm.
did not get traded at the trade deadline, but I guess less than 48 hours later, it was announced that his services were no longer needed in the Bronx. He has been released outright, and that's all we heard. Marcus Stroman has been released. April, you started it. What did you think when you heard the news here?
I went back to the HBCU Classic that was here, and I thought about all the players who loved him because he was one of the most discussed players amongst many of the guys who played at the tournament. And I saw his reaction to being DFA'd, and I'm like, you know what? That's the kind of reaction I want to have. Like, yeah, I got DFA'd, but I'm still all right. Like, I'm still good. So I
I
think
mean,
if
he's
he's still
rich.
good, huh?
He's rich.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's good. I'm saying it's one thing for you to be consistently
I don't buy. I
average.
don't. You know what? I don't buy that. I don't. I
You
don't
don't?
buy. I buy that he's rich. I don't buy the whole. Let me take this picture of how unbothered I am that I'm no longer playing the game that I played since I was a child because this team in New York City that is sitting in a pennant race doesn't want me to pitch anymore. I do not buy that part of it. No, I mean, I just as a human.
Mhm.
I hear you. I think I was looking at it more from a mental aspect of whatever it takes for him to be able to sleep at night. Like I
Right.
support it because it's a lot for somebody to, be released from a team, especially a team like the Yankees, and then put yourself in a position to be made whole again so that somebody else can possibly pick you up. So if that's what it takes for him to be okay, I fully support it. And I hope that, I'm going to still root for him. I want him to be, somewhere else too. Hey.
Flobo, you're shaking your head. Marcus Stroman thoughts.
I think
Say what you got to say, Flo. But I already know you're
Say
going to
it.
say.
you know what to say, man.
You know what,
Because
Flobo? Let it go, Flobo. Let it go, Flobo.
I should let things go. No, but I know on this show before the season started, we talked about Marcus Stroman. That was one of the ones you wanted to watch, Malik, and he is when he's locked in, and I can't take that away from him. But again, I am just befuddled, like bewildered, flummoxed, flabbergasted, confused, confounded of how he goes into a team and the first season's okay, and then the second season is like, get me off this team. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like a culture thing or just being tired of his surroundings. But in Queens, in the Bronx, and in Chicago, it was like, I'm out. And like he's gonna get signed. I mean, he's what 3.79 career ERA, mid 30s. A team can't pick him up. The question now becomes who wants that reputation in their clubhouse.
Points made.
Mm. That's a good point.
Points made.
Malik, what do you? I have thoughts. I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna let Malik go.
Yeah.
I have tons of thoughts. I always have thoughts. Malik,
Marcus.
Marcus Stroman. The news. Were you surprised when you heard the news?
No, I was not surprised. But not surprised because imagine being the Yankees. But imagine if Marcus Stroman was pitching around the time Reggie Jackson was pitching.
Mm.
Imagine, being the Yankees brass, and they're like, we're paying this African American whatever word they would use in closed circles.
Whatever word.
Whatever superlatives they would use. And then they say, we're paying him this X amount of money throughout the end of the year, whether we release him or not. So what if we take the executive's decision to release him, to pay him out the rest of his contract so we won't have to pay out the option or whatever buyout that we would have to pay at the end of the season if we were to keep his contract and have to make that decision? So I wasn't surprised at that because the Yankees, they take on contracts and they dump them pretty easily. And I think with just all the pitching that has been coming back with Luis Hill coming back on the mound and just some of the moves that they're trying to make, trying to get their defense, I guess, less exposed, because Marcus Stroman is a ground ball pitcher. That's not going to be boding well for a team that's been having fundamental issues on the field. Yes. And so I think with all those things being considered, they said, you know what, let's cut the money. Let's cut our losses. Thank you for giving us those, couple of good.
Do they cut the money though? I think they got to pay the money.
Yeah, they're paying him off the rest of his contract, but he won't have the amount of innings to get that vesting option that he's probably trying to get when he wanted to be a starter at the beginning of the year.
He signed as a free agent 2 years ago. It was the deal was 2 years.
I think it was 2 years in investing.
So it's 2 years, $37 million. So he was getting 18.5 for 2 years.
That's
season.
Right. Yeah,
so, I think they got to pay that out. He's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season anyway.
Right, and if he would have pitched even more innings, he probably would have got another, contract depending on the innings. But they don't have to pay it anymore.
We've seen this before.
Real quick, I want to jump in here real quick. So the vesting option is it's an $18 million vesting option for 26 if he reached 140 innings.
Yep, and they cut it right before he could, so don't have to worry about that one.
Right before he could, how many innings? He had 39 innings this year.
Yeah, he wasn't going to get anywhere near that.
Yeah, he wasn't going to get that anyway. He was, the only thing I really can compare this to, and this is probably an unfair comparison, it probably is, honestly, is Terrell Owens, the wide receiver that wherever he went for like a whole season, it was all good and he was all world. T.O. in San Francisco, T.O. in Dallas, T.O. in Philadelphia with Donovan McNabb. The old heads will remember this Super Bowl where, Terrell Owens breaks his leg and comes back and plays in the Super Bowl, and then he's fighting with Donovan McNabb. I hate to say that I actually love the Marcus Stroman story. Like, I love it. I love what he does with the foundation. I love what he does with his charity. His, height doesn't matter. Like, I love it. I love that he's his own personality in many ways. He's an advocate in many ways. We talk about Stroman a lot. And like April, I want to root for Marcus Stroman. I really do. And then I remember what my mother and my grandmothers have always told me, which is, if you look around the room and you constantly have a problem with everyone else, it may not be everyone else, right? Like, and I feel like that's the read I'm always getting when these Stroman stories comes out. It's that Stroman has issues with every organization for whatever reason. And it's like, man, is everyone, like, is he that misunderstood? Is everyone wrong? And I don't know, because I've never met Marcus Stroman. I'm not in the clubhouse. Obviously, I don't know. But what I'm saying is, as Flobo pointed out, there seems to be a pattern from team to team to team, and it kind of gets to the same narrative every time. And sooner or later, you're going to be like, man, is he really that misunderstood by everyone? Or is there something internal going on with Marcus Stroman? I don't know the answer to that.
It's only for Marcus Stroman to answer. And I think, hopefully, I think that he has the juice to get a couple of more contracts within his career. And I think he's, physical enough to do that. It's just going to depend on the team that wants to exactly, take on his, his bravado and his style of, how he likes to approach the mound and his new pitching style, because he's not going to be blowing guys away like he did when he was in the World Baseball Classic. Now he's more of a finesse pitcher. So we're going to need teams that are going to be willing to, pick up the ground ball a little bit. So he's one of my favorite pitchers, one of my favorite competitors that I've seen, and hopefully he gets another contract.
We're going to have to move on Next inning, Flobo. What you got?
Well, I don't know if you guys know about this, but Uncle Luke was chilling out on the internet today, and he was like, Uncle Luke? yeah, Uncle Luke. I'm going somewhere with this. I'm going somewhere. And it was like, hey, Uncle Luke, what's on your mind? He goes, you know what? I feel my Miami Marlins should be in the AL East because this weekend they swept the Yankees for the first time. Can you believe that? The Yankees, one of the most storied franchises of all history, have a losing record against the Miami Marlins after a sweep. What is baseball?
Yes. That's so crazy.
There's a lot to talk about here when you talk about, one, how absolutely on fire the Marlins have been. This is the best Marlins run in about 20 years. I think I looked at the numbers. It was like 33-14 or something. I mean, they are playing absolutely amazing. Cal Stowers has been unreal.
Wow.
I got it on good authority that the crowd was chanting MVP chants for Stowers. He hit his 25th home run, I want to say, in that last game against the Yankees in that series. Xavier Edwards, we talk about him all the time. I know Lewis Brinson and I both talk about Xavier Edwards quite a bit. Unbelievable hit tool. You got to put him on the field, whether it's shortstop or second base. You got to play him because he's a multi-hit guy waiting to happen. Ramirez is now probably the prime candidate for National League Rookie of the Year. Like, he's probably overtaken Drake Baldwin and all those other guys if they were ever in the running, right? So this has been – the Marlins have been something to behold and watch. The Yankees, on the other hand, because we can talk about that as well, have now fallen behind the Red Sox in the standings. Yikes. They are a headline every day, and it's not necessarily for the best reasons. To cap all of this off, over 101,000 people checked out those 3 games that the Yankees and the Marlins played in Lone Depot Park. It's like the highest attendance for a series in the history of Lone Depot Park. And I was getting yelled at in the comments today on Black Baseball Mixtape messages because how dare I suggest that the Marlins sold all those tickets because, in part, not in totality, but in part because they were playing the Yankees. And people were saying that I was insulting the good people of Miami by even suggesting this. A Miami Marlins team that averaged, I believe, 12,000 fans, the lowest game-by-game attendance in all of Major League Baseball in 2025. So how dare I even raise the notion that one of the most popular franchises in town, Marlins, bring the sweep. Flobo, what do you make of all of this?
Well, I think by you explaining what's happening with the Marlins is the reason why you got yelled at, right? Let's be real. The Yankees, the Yankees have I can take it. I get it. They say South Florida is a 6th borough, right? Everyone is like, I'm from New York, living out there in Broward County. I get that. And the Yankee fans were out there in full force. But the Marlins are hot, and baseball teams do not play themselves. So, yeah, the Marlins earned that weekend number. Don't be coming with asterisks and qualifiers like, well, actually. No,
the Marlins are playing the Pirates or the Marlins are playing the Orioles, you think they would have had that many people?
So let me ask you this.
I don't understand what we're saying.
Well, okay. If the Marlins were playing the Pirates, for example, and they got the same amount of people, would you go? If the Marlins were playing the Pirates and they got the same amount of people, would that be a detraction? Would you go, well, it would have been more, but it's the Pirates? No, we look at attendance, we look at the game, and we say these people bought a ticket to watch this game. And so when you're sitting there going like, well, props to the Marlins, but they're all Yankees fans. That's not true because the Yankees play them twice a year, every season. It never hit 100,000 people. Something changed in Miami. We're getting some fans repping their team and their location. That should be credited.
They're winning.
They're winning.
They are winning. They are winning.
So you'll be like, well, the Yankees win town. It's totally disrespectful.
No, because a few weeks ago.
Exclusive. Yeah. Go ahead, April.
I'm sorry. A few weeks ago, I remember distinctly we had a conversation and we also discussed why was no one at the Marlins games. And we were really sitting down here like, and to the point where the discussion was, are they going to be one of the expansion teams? So I think that some people have to be realistic about the fact that, yes, number one, they are winning. And number two, they are playing the Yankees. Like Yankee fans showed up, and this was something that you talked about because you went to the spring training game, and even you were shocked at the amount of people who were there. So this is not to be disrespectful in my opinion. I'm gonna say this. In my opinion, I don't think that he's saying this to be disrespectful.
He was.
I think that there does have.
It wasn't like, oh, it's pretty cool. Both teams. You're like, no, actually, give the credit to the Yankees. Come on.
There does have to be some sense of realism about exactly why people are showing up, especially when, like I said, a few weeks ago, we were discussing why y'all wasn't showing up a month ago, since y'all got all this going on.
They weren't winning a month ago. But I'm with you. Because this is the same team that this season had like a paid attendance of 7,000. It was like like an afternoon game. They had like a series where it was like back-to-back games where it was like 7,000 paid, 8,000 paid. And we were like, nope, wasn't a weather thing. It wasn't a traffic thing. It's just Miami. They had other things to do.
Correct.
And I agree with the fact that their winning does change things. Don't forget, I've said this for years. I'm an Orioles fan. We were very, very down in the dumps for a very long time. And then what was it? The last 3 years, playoffs, the crowd looked different. The energy's different. The ticket prices are different. The excitement around the ball club is different. I just think that in part, a record-setting 3 games, we're talking about 3 games in a row, 2 of them had like the 2 highest attendance all season. I think it's aided by one of the teams that travels the best in Major League Baseball. The Yankees are one of the teams that travel. If it was the Dodgers, I would have the same conversation. Right. And I do think, again, the next series, where whoever they play home next, especially if it's a team in the middle of the pack, I think that says more to me than it will give more credence to baseball is back in Miami, baby. Like, you know what I mean? Have we looked at the schedule? Who's the next Marlins home series?
Well, they're playing the Astros right now, so
and the Astros travel well. They don't travel. I would not say they travel as well as the Yankees, but the Astros travel. The Astros travel well. They were all right. Here's a good example. Just yesterday, right? They played, or was it today? 8-2 game.
Yeah, there's one.
No, yep, 8-2. The paid attendance was 10,000. 10,827. So it was 36,000 against the Yankees over the weekend. So what does that tell? I mean, what is that telling us?
I know somebody's going to say Sunday.
I know what Connor Norby says. It tells us. He says we don't care. Did y'all see his tweet?
No.
Did y'all see what Connor Norby tweeted about what? Like, he had to delete it, but he basically put out this viral tweet. He basically said, "I'm just going to say this one thing to every fan out there. You guys wrote us off before the year started, and all you've done is write us off most of every player on this team. And here's the thing. We don't care. We're young. We're a hungry group. And if you've been watching Fishball this year, these guys play some of the best baseball, the most entertaining baseball, fundamental baseball. Oh, my gosh. That's why they were okay with giving up Luis Arias. That's why
dare I say, Malik, dare I say, and I know what I'm about to say. You may agree or disagree, but dare I say the Marlins remind me of the Orioles of the last couple of years.
Don't jinx them now. Come on.
I'm not. No, I'm not.
Don't jinx them.
Oh, no.
Listen, hear me out now. Because those Oriole teams, especially the team that won 100 games, the reason they won 100 games is because they did not take the day off. Those guys, when they showed up ready to play every series. This is a team that Orioles team didn't. I don't think they lost a series like as they went through that season. I don't think they lost a home series like all season. But the idea was at the time. Again, this is not the Orioles of the last 2 years. That year one Orioles team. That was a team what was under it was just underrated. Like the teams did not go in there thinking, oh, we're going to be in for a dogfight 3 games. We're going to be in for a dogfight 4 games. And what they found was those Orioles had fun playing together. They played hard every day. It was just kind of fun to watch. And if you start looking at, and Carnanobi and Cal Stowers both came over in that Orioles trade, right? So those are guys that were dealt, kind of shipped off when the Orioles were like, hey, look, we're going to make this playoff run and we need arms. They sent away Stowers and Norby and some other folks. And I feel like this Marlins team has that attitude that Norby has mentioned that's like, hey, man, we're kind of cast-offs here. Like, nobody thought Cal Stowers was going to be as good. If the Orioles thought Cal Stowers was going to be that good, they would have put Heston Jerkstad in that trade. They would have put Cal Stowers in that trade.
Yeah. And
they would have put Colton Pelzer in that deal. What?
I really kind of – I was shooting Peter Bendix in the foot a little bit. I was like, come on, man. You're just going to be one of those other GMs in Miami that's just shipping everybody off. But he's actually turning this into another race. Go ahead.
Oh, you can tell I'm back in school. Like, I'm really ready for school to start. But no, I wanted to say, I want to give a shout out to Clayton McCulloch too, because, you know, he's also the brand new manager for the Miami Marlins. And to get these young guys to buy into what he's doing is something that we absolutely have to give credit to. When he left the Dodgers, like, a lot of the guys were sad. And I think we're seeing now why a lot of the guys felt a connection to him. He's building that same type of connection and relationship with the guys in Miami, and we're seeing it now play out on the field. So I understand the tweet of what the player said, but I also think that sometimes players have to remember, like, they made 0 moves this past offseason. So people really didn't have an expectation of what to expect with the brand new manager, no moves being made. This is a shock and a surprise for many people, but I would say that it's a pleasant surprise. Like, I'm enjoying watching them take the field and win games. So we can be wrong about some things, and I'll take that.
No, I will tell you this. I've watched more Marlins games than I've seen the Cubs or the Brewers.
I don't even
You're missing out on some good Midwest ball.
I don't even know why. Yeah, I don't even know why.
Look, hey, last thing. Let's put a button on this. To really put a bow on this. And I'll leave it to Flobo to give all of us a real dose of reality. The Marlins, as much as this is a great story, they are still 8.5 games out of first in a very tough division that has the Phillies and the Mets in it. They are, I want to say, 6.5 games out of the wild card. And those numbers are sell numbers. Those numbers, if you look at the other teams that were selling, they're around where the Marlins are. So, Flobo, give us a dose of reality here. What are the Marlins actually playing for?
They're spoiler. In the NL East right now, you have a Mets side that is floundering, and you have a Phillies side that is still lockstep with them. So it looks like one of them can end up canceling each other out. The season's not done for Miami. The fact they leapfrog the Braves is a win onto itself. All they have to do at this point is they're not going to win the division unless somebody slips and falls and slips in second place. And so
win the division.
They're not. But I'm saying
win the division.
Yeah, I know that. But what I'm saying is it's not over for them. Because the way the Mets are playing right now, the way the Phillies can be playing in September, they could end up finishing second if they maintain their pace. So I'm not ready to write them off. I would love to write them off. I would love to say it's all Queens, but they have just been so much of a spoiler here, man. I think it's a cool story. Now, what usually happens is they make the playoffs and they sell off the team the season afterwards. But right now, man, they're kind of one of the ones to watch.
Yeah, I think what the Marlins have done is without not having the money, they've been able to acquire assets, and prospect assets are proving to be just as valuable as having a lot of money on your ledger to be able to buy players. So shout out to Peter and Kim Ng before him, actually.
Yes.
Building that up. I ain't going to discredit Kim.
It's Kim.
Hey, look, I think it's a good story. I do not think that it.
Hold on.
I
Wait.
don't think.
Orioles
I
over here
don't
in the
think
toilet.
that.
You
Yes,
I
better
I'm
don't
call
think
saying.
Gator.
that it.
You said the Orioles for 3 or 4 months.
Wait.
I don't see the Marlins. I don't see it. Orioles Cubs. I don't
I mean,
see
look,
it.
look. The Orioles are only 9 games out of the wild card.
Come
The
on.
no,
Derek
no. I'm
Jeter.
saying I've accepted my reality. My reality is that the Orioles are done. Right? They're sellers. They did all this stuff. They're 9 games out of the wild card. The Marlins are 6.5, and I
Yeah.
believe a tougher situation in the National League. So,
Okay.
you really think they're playing for something
No,
outside of pride?
the Phillies and the Mets right now are way stronger than the Marlins. However, collapses happen, and I hate to say it, it's looking like Queens right now. So I'm not going to. This is because of the nature of baseball. I can't write them out. But you're right.
Yeah.
On paper, numbers, games behind. I get that, but I don't know, man. It's crazy things have happened.
Yeah, D-backs went to the World Series a couple years ago. That was weird.
Yeah. What was how many games they win that season?
That was
Like 12?
87 wins? That was weird,
Like 13
y'all.
games? Yeah.
All right, who's up? The round is off. Is it Malik?
Oh, yeah, was it me? Oh, yeah.
I believe it's Malik. We've done April. We've done Flobo. We've done me. Malik, you're rounding us off here.
Oh, yeah, just to talk on the other side of this, because we can't talk Marlins ball without talking Yank ball, where the ball's getting yanked all over the field. So I think it was really crazy just to see, it's always weird to see Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter in the same room.
Awkward, right?
It's fun, though. It's fun. It's nice, little universe crossing again. But when they're both commenting on the play of the Yankees, even after so many years of being a part of like championship teams and just being somewhat removed from the game in a way, and still kind of being like, hey, this is not looking good. We both used to play on the same team and we didn't always get along. We didn't always have the same, we weren't always eye to eye, but we knew how to win games. We knew how to pick the ball up. And so if y'all were not aware, but Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez, went on the record just to comment on Yankees baseball. Comments were made about, Jazz Chisholm's play, some of the fact that they were just swept by the Miami Marlins, which we all pretty much written off. Is this an indictment on Yankees baseball? Should they be panicking? I think we asked this question in the Discord maybe a few weeks ago. Should the Yankees be panicking? Should they be worried? Is Aaron Boone not taking enough accountability? What's going on? What's going on in Yankee land? They're third place. That's weird.
You know what I think's going on?
What's going on?
They should be worried. You kept Aaron Boone, right? Okay, last World Series was not competitive, and even though it was fun to watch him lose, even I was kind of sad about how people were making fun of him and Fat Joe, right? They gave him some options at the beginning of the season.
Let's not forget Fat Joe.
Yeah, man, he should lean back and fall back. Anyway, the trade deadline comes around. Cashman does pretty well on paper, and you're still not putting it together. It looked like they won the deadline, but seemed to be fundamentally flawed on the bases. They're investing way too much time on their shortstop. I can't even remember his name. Volpe. I can't remember his name. And it just feels like they're on a collision course to get even worse if nothing fundamentally changes. I don't know if that means shipping off Boone. I don't know if that means like flipping over the team, but right now it's not looking good for the Bronx.
April, should the Yankees be panicking? Flobo says yes.
So a couple weeks ago, we asked this question, and this was when Aaron Judge got injured. And we were like, is this something we should be worried about? And I was like, at the time, I don't think that this is a concern. And right now, I think, yes, hit the panic button, because it's not just the fact that Aaron Judge is missing. This team has not grown from their errors of last year. And, feelings were hurt, and in a lot of these press conferences discussing how players, etc., talked about how they made errors. And I'm just like, how are y'all still having these fielding mistakes in 2025? Like, you can literally go back and watch these things and you haven't corrected them. So I think that the concern is way more than just Aaron Judge missing. What are y'all doing out there where you can't make basic fundamental plays, the base running, all of that? Like, I am perturbed. Like, I had to turn the TV. I had to turn the TV. I had enough. So that's kind of where I am with them. And that kind of alarm, I can't do it.
All right, so let me just make sure I've got everything straight before I added. Is in panic mode.
Yes.
Malik, are you panicking on the Yankees? Yes or no?
I can't.
You're not.
Not
You're
as
not
long as
panicking yet.
I can't
Flobo,
as
you're
long as
panicking.
George exists.
I'm enjoying the downfall. I'm not panicking.
Yeah.
So, but you're so.
Yeah.
But I want to be clear. I want to understand. I want to understand.
Something needs to change. They don't play like the Yankees, and it hurts me to say this, but I expect because baseball needs it. Baseball needs teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Astros to play at a certain level to be the flag bearers. The Yankees have not been doing that in over 2 seasons, and that is a critical problem from the top down.
Over 2 seasons in the World Series last year.
Yeah, but have they been playing well? Their base running issues were going on through the regular season. Have they not?
World Series.
Okay, so it doesn't matter how good you are as long as you're the World Series. Shout out to the Snakes of 2020.
You asked the Snakes.
But I think you bring up the point I was about to bring up, which is the New York Yankees are held to a different standard. There are 2 teams that are held to a different standard in Major League Baseball. The Los Angeles Dodgers is one of them, and the New York Yankees are another. Maybe rightfully so, right? Maybe just under that tier is the Phillies, maybe the Braves, maybe the Mets now. Like, I'm talking about the standard of just all-out panic all the time. My concern right now with this team is that, it's fitting that they had Derek Jeter and A-Rod talking about this particular Yankees team. Because the Jeter teams, Bernie Williams, Jorge Posada, Andy Pettitte, ultimately CC Sabathia, these guys were built to take this level of scrutiny, right? Like, they were able to not crack under this pressure of being under the lights in New York City, right? They had a manager in Joe Torre that no matter kind of what happened, it's kind of the inflappable type of guy out there that still was able to take this stuff. This is the issue that I have with the Yankees. I don't think is going to be on the field. What I mean by that is, yes, Jazz had a base running blunder, and Volpe's making a ton of errors and hitting home runs, then making a ton of more errors. But I just think mentally, are they going to be the team that has the makeup, right? That survives this stretch, because this is the second half dog days of everybody's looking at everything. And again, they're playing a 3-game set against the Marlins, which is a good story. But again, we just talked about where the Marlins are in the standings versus where the Yankees are in the standings. So in theory, if you take all the hoopla away from it, it's not like the most exciting series. It wasn't the Phillies Tigers that played 3 games this last weekend as well, statistic wise, right? But I just think everything that surrounds the Yankees makes it a bigger deal. And I think that this team is going to need, as a Flobo you were alluding to, they're going to need to find another gear. But I don't know if that gear is necessarily, I think it might be more of a mental gear, right? Now, and again, the bullpen, I do think they did really well at the trade deadline. That bullpen, the new look bullpen, gave up 9 runs in 1 2/3 innings against the Marlins, right? This is Duvall and
Bednar
and like all of them. They came in and they were bad for game 1.
Yeah,
they still got Luke Weaver. They still got Devin Williams. Devin Williams has been on that yo-yo all season. I get a Devin Williams text just about every 3rd day from my good buddy who's a Yankee fan, talking about he's either the greatest or ship him out of here tomorrow. I just think that this level that they're in, they're going to have to summon some more kind of focus and mental toughness. And you look around that locker room, and that's where I do think you're missing the championship caliber guys, character guys. Like, Derek Jeter is not walking in that door to lace him up. CC Sabathia is not walking in that door. Jorge Posada is not walking in that door. So, can Paul Goldschmidt, can Cody Bellinger, can Giancarlo Stanton, and obviously can Aaron Judge Can Aaron Judge be those guys that fortify this ship? And I don't know the answer to that, but I will say this. I think they probably at the end of the day get it together. I think they probably still win the division. Don't at me, Blue Jay fans. And I think you're going to see the Yankees in the playoffs.
They very well may do so. But I look at the 23 Yankees. They went to the wild card. I thought they were way more dangerous than the Yankees of last year because their path to the World Series was arguably one of the easiest ones in a long time to get there. And now it's even worse. So if they make the playoffs, okay, props to them. Maybe that they had that digging deep thing. But if you think that that team will have any length in the playoffs, then I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, and again, I would love to pile on like, LOL Yankees, but to us, you need those torch-bearing teams to be good. It's good for baseball. Yankees need to be the pulse of the league. But you're right. I don't see – I mean, Jazz Chisholm is a good person, but is he like the new Yankees? Are we going that direction? Are we still trying to be the classic direction with Boone's leadership? Are we looking at Aaron Judge to be the guy when he comes back healthy?
Yeah, I think Judge has to be the guy. Judge is the guy, and he has to be the guy. So the question is the pitching going to hold up? Max Fried seems like he's still a stud. Carlos Rodon's shoving. When Luis Gil, I think they're banking on this pitching, and I think they've got to figure out. Like Grisham's had a career year. Like we talk about a lot of folks having career years in baseball. Trent Grisham, he just hit his career high. I think his 19th home run. He's had a career year. Dominguez seems like he's a pro. If people forget how young he is, Bellinger is I think.
I mean the culture. I mean the culture. I don't mean the actual stat. I mean the actual culture. The identity.
Yeah, I think they have the talent, but the question is, like you were saying, can they survive? Because those lights are going to be hella bright.
Do you all believe that the recent fan experience, so the access that the Yankees have allowed like fans to them, like for example, having Boone on Talking Yankees or having John Boy having access, I'm not trying to like down it, but do you think that fan access is probably getting to, the Yankees? Like you mentioned the Yankees of old, they didn't have social media, they didn't have Instagram, they couldn't check Twitter, they weren't going on The Athletic quickly to see comments. Do you think that this is a different time? You're not able to kind of, we have so much access to these players that they used to.
I don't know if I want to say this because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings by saying this. I feel like the players of the past, it wouldn't have mattered because they just had this.
Nope. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Because I love where you're going with this. Go, because I've got one that I know it would have mattered to. But go ahead.
For the most part, like for some of them, like I don't know that if it would have mattered that much. I don't know if they would have paid attention to social media in that way. Now, would it have been some people? Of course. Like I can think of a couple right now where I'm like, probably would
have. Do I think it would have mattered for Derek Jeter? Probably not. Do I think it would have mattered for Gary Sheffield? Probably not. Do I think it would have mattered for CeCe or Bernie Williams? Bernie Williams definitely probably not. Jorge Posada probably not.
No.
Does it would have mattered for Alex Rodriguez? Hell yeah!
If that's what
A-Rod would not have survived.
Yes, I agree.
Era that he is in today. He hasn't played a baseball game in how long? He's still struggling with image. Yeah. A-Rod would have been the worst. He would. I will say this. Thank God A-Rod didn't have to deal with Twitter and Instagram because, again, he had a hard enough time dealing with the legacy, the New York Post, and all kinds of stuff that he was dealing with then. If A-Rod had to deal with people talking about parlays and you going 1 for 6, you know what I mean? Right. In the playoffs, he would have lost it. He would not have survived.
What about like Roger Clemens? You think he'd be pretty thrilled?
3 a.m. blow up. I was hacked. No, you wasn't. All that.
Yeah. All right, guys. This has been coming up. This has been fantastic. Got a couple quick hits because I want to be mindful and try to wrap up here in the next 10. But we had so many things on the docket. Flobo, I'm just going to ask you. I'm not going to ask anyone else on this one. I'm going to ask you. How are we feeling about Cedric Mullins in New York right now?
Slow start, man. I know there's a lot of expectation because the center field position, Tyrone Taylor, one of my favorite guys in the team, had a hole in his bat. But I'm not sure what the stats were today, but going in, he was like 1 for 9. So
he'll get settled.
I'm a little concerned, man. But I mean, you that's the one guy that needed to pop early. You know what I'm saying?
He'll get settled. Settled. I'm hoping for the best here. Big deal, little deal, no deal at all. Malik, the MLB announced that the Major League All-Star Week next year, we know it's going to be in Philly. The All-Star Game, All-Star Week is going to be in Philly. The year after, they just announced that it will be in Chicago, Wrigley Field. Big deal, little deal, no deal at all. The All-Star Week 20, I guess it's 27. Going to Chicago.
One of the biggest deals we probably ever find, because if they're able to keep this core, it's a big deal. It's Wrigleyville.
Like, in Chicago, big deal. All right. April, do you like the All-Star Game in Chicago?
Absolutely. Like, it's Wrigley. It's like historic. And it's Chicago.
Yeah,
like, absolutely.
All right. I look, God willing, knock on wood, I've never been to Wrigley Field. I've never seen a baseball game in Chicago. If that happens, shout out to all of our guys at Black Baseball Media. They are based in Chicago. We are big fans of them. Big deal, little deal, no deal at all. April, the Cleveland and it's Luis Ortiz, Emmanuel Clase. Not only have they been put on administrative leave, if you will, by MLB, but their lockers have been cleared out of the Guardians locker room. Big deal, little deal, no deal at all.
Pack up.
It was a medium deal until the lockers were cleaned out. Now I'm waiting for the full story to come out because I need all the tea in regards to that.
Not looking good. Not looking good at we talk about this a lot on the show. I think, there's going to be some type of reckoning. I don't know what that reckoning looks like between MLB and gambling. Flobo, do you have any idea what you think that reckoning looks like?
Anything else? I think you're going to have a third party ombudsman sort of situation. That's going to become a lot more to the surface. Is they're going to crack down on those players that do it because they're not reversing the gambling thing. You can't unring that bell. States are doing it, opening it up season by season. MLB is going to give you that dog and pony show. Respectfully.
Yeah, man. Let's just quickly, as we close back, the Padres unveiled their new toy the other day, and it looked really scary when Mason Miller came in, pitched in the 8th inning, hit against the Cardinals. It was his debut when he came after the trade deadline, pitched against the Cardinals. He hit 103 on the gun. And then the Padres, and he's not the closer anymore, by the way. He's the setup man.
Great.
And then the Padres, who's their closer? Is it like Suarez? Was there? It's like
a committee at this point, but he's been closing a lot of games.
Yeah, the back end of that Padres lineup looked. This is where I was going with this though. Filthy. Mason Miller hit 103 on the gun against the Cardinals in his first game, and then I want to say it was last night. Yeah, last night, Sunday Night Baseball. Duran comes in for the Phillies. He throws the 2 hardest pitches in Philadelphia Phillies history, 102.7 and 103 to close out the game against the Tigers. What do we make of this back end bullpen stuff where these guys are coming in and they're literally throwing remember when we thought 99, 100, we were, if you had triple digits on the gun, we were losing it. Now they're up to 102.7 and 103 in different games. What do we make of again? This stuff is the back half of these good teams are filthy.
Yeah, I mean, at least they're not missing the zone 0-0 on the first pitch, right?
Like
our boy Clase. So I'm just saying that as it's it's really nice to see that these arms are able to do this kind of thing. I mean, Mason Miller is averaging 101. He's averaging
Yeah, he's
101.
insane.
So while it's nice to see, it also sucks to see on the other side the inevitable, the pitching injuries that kind of come from this. And sometimes I wonder, are men really supposed to throw this hard? I mean, we have Chapman out here, and he's been doing it. No arm injuries, knock on wood. I think that John Smoltz said it best, but like they're trying to train people to be Nolan Ryans, and not everybody's built like Nolan Ryan physically. They don't have the same genetics. And so we're pitching like him, but we're not really built like him. So while it's cool to see, I just hope that it doesn't turn into a thing where 50% of pitchers are having to get TJ because they're throwing 100.
Yeah, I mean, I think the arm injury thing is a legitimate conversation. We've seen it more and more and more throughout the years. So like, I think it's only going to get worse. Like, I don't know if it's like we see it in all sports. We see it with just like development and children. Like players are bigger, stronger, faster today than they ever have been. They've been like Cam's 10. My son's 10, and he has to go to like training. Like weight training, exercise training. It was like when I was 10, we were not doing that stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like these kids today, and most of them will be like, they'll tell you, they'll be like, oh, I'm glad I had my TJ in high school so I can come back and do different things as I get older. Like, you're like, what? So it is insane. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been fun. We are coming across the the hour and a half mark. We once again want to thank everyone that joined us on social medias, on Instagram Live and YouTube and Facebook. We want to thank our partners and our sponsors, which is the Players Alliance, Rebellion Harvest Sunflower Seeds, Numbers Game Scorecards, Minority Prospects. Before we get out of here, Flobo, tell us what's new in the booth.
Oh man, new in the booth coming at you this Monday. One of the cool things about working with the United Arab Emirates project we did 2 years ago, I got to meet some of my good friends. And so Liam Skiffington will be on Monday's episode, has a brand new business called 52 Media. You're going to look out for that. This Monday and every other Monday while the season's happening in the booth of Flobo Boys. Get it where you get your podcasts.
Fantastic. April, what's going on in the 10th inning?
I'm not going to have a new podcast episode this week with everything going on, but I will highly suggest that you check out last week's episode because I do talk about the AUSL All-Star Cup, which is currently taking place right now. So
that's some sellouts going on.
Yeah, so there was a game today, and then they will also be playing August 6th. So you definitely want to be locked in. And shout out to Odyssey Alexander. She just announced that she's having a little one. So I'm excited for that as well. But yes, make sure you check that out. And you also tune into the All-Star Cup, which will be on MLB.com, ESPN2, etc.
There you go. Malik, what's going on with Butterman Baseball?
Yeah, so my next adventure will be to Seattle. I've never been to their ballpark. Looking forward to going there next month. So I'm trying to get like Flobo and visit all 30, get to all the ballparks. Yeah. So trying to cross that one off the list. Hopefully I can get to those games up there.
There you go. And a brand new Black Kids Played Baseball comic strip dropped today. It was a double feature, another double feature. We've been experimenting with some double, more 8 panels, if you will. And so we got the format right for this one to be the first 8 panel feature that we've ever done. So that's exciting. That dropped today. There will be a new one that will drop. I guess the rotation now is just about every 2 weeks. There is a new comic strip that's coming out. Just a lot of things happening in the entire realm of the Black Baseball Mixtape as a platform. So we really appreciate everyone's support. I joke around. It's a burden of growth, but I really do appreciate, as we all do, the interaction with our community. I learned something really important over the weekend. And I learned that there's a difference between an audience and a community, right? And so most folks have an audience and they call them a community, but it's really not a community. It's an audience. They're kind of watching and consuming and not really interacting. And in order to build a real community, especially if you're talking about spaces that are digital or online or kind of things like this, where everybody kind of feels part of a mission or a brand, if you will, there has to be, interaction. There has to be give and take. There has to be back and forth. One of those ways to join the community and be an active member of the community is through our Discord. So I encourage all of you guys to be a part of our community by looking into and joining the Discord. It's absolutely free. All you have to do is message the Black Baseball Mixtape on any kind of messaging or emailing platform and say you want to join the Discord, and you will be able to join. So please do that. Be a part of the community and fellowship with us. I know Flobo's in there quite a bit. Malik's in there quite a bit. I'm in there. April's in there. So make sure you take a beat and check out our absolutely free Black Baseball Mixtape Discord. On that
Free?
note,
You was charging me $10 a month.
it is absolutely free. No one is charging you. Though, look, I've learned a lot about Substack over the last week or
That's what's
so,
up.
and what's going on with that. I don't know if we're payroll ready yet, but there are people that will pay for things, so we'll see.
Mhm.
All right, that is it for this episode. Make sure you share it around, and thanks for joining us. See you next time.